Today, I decided to change it up a little bit, have a little fun. Because, doesn't hurt to change things, doesn't hurt to try things, doesn't hurt to do different things. So today, we're not going to talk about a specific moment, which could, like Stone Cold, the old Stone Cold coming back against the Invasion. We're not going to talk about individual matches, like the King of the Ring thing. We're not going to talk about individual pay-per-views as a whole, like One Night Stand, or when I went back and watched Survivor Series '02 with the first Elimination Chamber match in. We're not going to do that. Today I want to talk about something that everyone should be able to appreciate, and that's a good promo. There have been lots of people that have given lots of good promos through the years. And we've seen a lot of people do really, really bad promos, if we're, being honest about it. Lots of bad ones. There's probably more bad ones than there are, like golden geese. Like, yes, where it's just amazing. Like, it's a really good art form. This goes all the way back to, in my lifetime, by the time I could actually remember WWE, or F at the time, was the Raw days. By the time I turned 8, which, somehow I remember some of that stuff, which I don't get, but that was already 96, the end of 96, 8, 9, 10, so that age, we were pretty much right around Attitude Era times, and we did get a lot of gems out of that era, of people that really, really can just kill it on that stick. They do an amazing job. No one's ever going to try to take that away from them. Thankfully, should really actually be saying thank you to the WWE for having the network and everything on there, regardless if it's switched to Peacock next week. But, the WWE network gives you just the chance to go back and look at Dusty's promos from way back then. Everyone, Hard Times, watch that promo. That's one of the best ever. You can go back and you can see Ric Flair stuff. And we all know Rick is great at talking. Sometimes you want Rick to shut up. It's natural, but those guys back at Randy Savage, he was always turned up and he could give one hell of a promo. Beg anyone to try to deny that fact. And that era with that, and then we led into a couple of years of, not such good programming. That happens. And then we got to the Attitude Era. Finally at the end of, that weird thing, where we got rid of, Isaac Yankem and, all that. We got, the gems. They were great out there. When we got The Rock, who still to this day, look at him, most electrifying man and everything. And just look at me between him doing stuff. Meanwhile, he got La Resistance, Chris Jericho, Stephanie, Triple H. He could cut promos on anybody about anything on the spot, on a dime. Stone Cold, he was, look what started that whole entire thing, that night at King of the Ring. The Austin 316 says, I just whooped your ass. That. And look what that led to. Look how good he was. We all knew about it. Anyone that watched, ECW stuff, which you can go back and see, some of those promos, those things were just so good. And that was before Stone Cold. Became, Stone Cold. And he was phenomenal at it. Triple H. Look how good he could still do it now. It was amazing. Shawn Michaels. Taker. When he talked, look how good he is at it. And he still goes out and could still cut one. To this day, Kane, once he finally started opening his mouth, not the greatest things, but Kane, he can go out there and rip one. And he's from that day. I mean, there were so many of them. Like, that was like the golden age because there were so many guys that were so athletic, so charismatic, and they could just let her rip on the mic. Like, which is an art form, especially when you're doing it in front of that many people. Like, it was such a good time. I mean, Shawn Michaels, when he was first there, and then after he came back, and they're doing their thing with DX. I mean, just look at Edge. He was around her, and look at him. He can still cut a great one now. Kurt Angle. He's just a natural, like on the mic, in the ring. Like that's what he was meant to do. Was to be in that ring and on that microphone. Like, it was phenomenal. It was so, so, so good. Like, that era of promos, like, just talent across the board in the game was amazing. Which then moved us up to Batista, who, I mean, he's not the worst ever. Can't forget about Eddie Guerrero, who was there, but he got the big push after, when they moved into the phase after they had to. Eddie Guerrero, he could just go. Like, again, he was one of those. Like, he was so good on the mic, in the ring, everywhere, calling matches, and like he was just feeling a crowd and letting everything go with just that. JBL. Everyone loved to boo him out of the building. Why? Because he would just go out there, like, when he became JBL, like, I mean, sure, it was rocky at the beginning. I mean, but look what he was before. They went from a cowboy to, the Acolytes, to the APA. I mean, everyone loved the APA. I mean, playing poker, drinking beer, bar fighting. Everyone loved the APA. And then when he came JBL, I mean, just look at all the incitement that we got during all of that. I mean, it was classic. And look at Randy Orton. Randy is still out there, and he can still do it. Like, he's still one of the best people they have on the mic right now. Matt Hardy, look at him. No one ever considered him to be the best, but look what broken, woken, whatever you want to call it. Look how it was weird as hell, but look at him. He could do it. MVP. Look at him now. He's speaking for all kinds of people. Look at the Hurt Business done now, and look how good he is still. He can still do it. Why do you think he's always on the mic? He's on commentary. I mean, they have him everywhere. He's phenomenal at it. And there was so much talent then. So happy that some of it has carried over. I think that's what they need for the next generation. Teach them, get those guys to come in and do it. Like, let them help them. John Cena, and he was between cutting promos, cutting raps on people. I mean, no matter what you feel about John Cena, he's like, he can talk on that microphone. He's good on it. He's great at it, actually. I mean, as much as he gets booed out of buildings, he was still really, really good on that microphone for a very long time. And I'm sure I'm even forgetting people, trying to think back through all of that. Like, there were just so many people that could just come and go. I always liked, move farther. I liked AJ. Both AJ Lee and, AJ Styles. And both the AJs, they could talk on the mic. They were great. Charlotte, nowadays, she's phenomenal. She's one of the best they have. She could just go and go and go on the mic. She's really, really good at it. Bayley's fun. Like, she's on top of her game. Like, this is the best she's ever been right now. This Bayley. With Ding Dong Hello. Like, she's great. I mean, no one can deny that. No one can try to deny that. I mean, Aiden English in his run. He was great on the mic. Paul Heyman, another one. I think they always have him, but he's always there. Except now Roman can actually talk, so he's not, Paul isn't having to talk all the time. But when he was, that stuff was gold. You didn't care that we didn't see Brock ever. Except for the defending the title every year. But Heyman could just sell anything without Brock having to be there. Like, that is a gift to sell, that big of a match without having to, have a guy that can sell it without you ever having to show up. Like, that's Heyman. And he's still phenomenal at it. All these years later. Drew McIntyre. He's better than he was in his first run. He's good. Big Show was alright. Which, alright is still way better than a lot of people get. He never really had a lot of mic time though, which is a big thing for that. He didn't have a lot of the mic time. Can't forget CM Punk. Look at his career after he had that, the infamous pipe bomb. Look at that. That was one of the best ever, and he just let her rip. They let him, here, what, I want to go do that. Okay, let her rip. And they let it go, and that was some of the best stuff you've ever heard on a microphone. Then they stuck Heyman with them. Which is just two great people at once on a mic. Can't forget about Mick Foley. In any of the faces of Foley, whatever role he was in, Mick Foley is great on a microphone. I think he does stand-up tour. He does all these things. You have to talk to people because he can talk. He's phenomenal. Samoa Joe. He's great on a mic. He's great at commentary. The stuff he did with AJ Styles, with his wife and kids here in the WWE run recently, that was outstanding. It was a couple of years ago, but it was still recently, and that was great. I'm thinking, and he just moved right into commentary, and it seems so easy in such transition. Some people are like, eh, because they can't do it. But look at him. Taz is one of those. He went from in the ring. He could just let him rip. And look how good he was on commentary and everything he's done since then. He could talk. And I can't forget about ECW. I know I didn't, mention them a lot here, or at all, besides Heyman. But look at so many people that could cut a promo. That came from there. Again, mentioned Taz, Heyman, RVD, when he was in ECW, and the promos, because they let him just let her rip. It wasn't like the WWE. Look at the stuff he was doing. Look at the stuff that Dudley Boys, like Bubba especially, look at the stuff Bubba was doing and saying and getting away with. If you've never seen it, go back and watch it. There's some of the most vile, mean things coming out of that guy's mouth. And then look at the WWE, you barely got to see him talk. It was so good, there was so much there. Man. Wish we can get back to letting them just let her rip on their own. Here's some talking points and go instead of being so scripted. I think that would help make it a lot better. Honestly, I think that would make it phenomenal. Because look how good everything was back then. You had the guys, athletes. They were coming up with a lot of their own stuff. They were doing all kinds of stuff. And let them do it. Kind of like the Bray Wyatt theory. Look at all of his incarnations. All the way to the Feed and the Firefly Funhouse. And look at him. When has he not been super charismatic and good on the microphone? That man got a serpent tongue. He's just, you don't like him or what he does on the mic. Even if you don't like the character, him on the microphone, through all of his different incarnations, the original Wyatt family, New Face of Fear, the thing with, even when he was doing Matt Hardy things, to Fiend. He has been solid. Even on the back, NXT when it was first coming around and doing it, that guy, he has got talent on the microphone. And every time they stick it there, it's great. And Alexa Bliss, really, I think, is just a perfect match to go in there with it. It's so good. Again, I could keep going on and on and on. Because the guys that can do it so well. But remember, it's all on the network. YouTube, I'm sure you can find all this stuff on YouTube and everything. So just go out, look for it. Do that for me this weekend. You got time to sit down? Do that. Go back and watch some of these promos, because there are some gems in there. And it helps make up for some of the lack thereof, the capabilities of some people throughout all the last, since the Attitude Era and all that. Modern era, whatever, ruthless aggression era, since then there was that weird block that we were in until recently that we're finally getting out of. But go back and watch that stuff, because you don't know what you're missing. If you think they're good on the mic now, go back and watch Stone Cold, The Rock, Triple H, Mick Foley, RVD, Stone Cold when he was in ECW, before he was Stone Cold Steve Austin, Kurt Angle, Ric Flair, Dusty Rhodes. Go back, watch them. The Macho Man stuff, because he was turned up to 1 million, and that was just gold, all that stuff. But if you got time, that's what I ask you people this weekend. Go back and watch that. And enjoy. because they're great. And with all that being said, I want you to say hello everyone. Enjoy your weekend. Have as much fun as you can. Don't forget, SmackDown's on tonight. Means I'll be here back to talk to you tomorrow. So like, share, comment, follow. And I'm also now officially on YouTube and Rumble. They have the show has its standalone channel. So they are no longer going to be on my personal page. They are going strictly on their own. So remember that. Same name as right here. That's on Facebook, Wrestling with Ski. Now they have their own channels on YouTube and Rumble. So if you can go and follow them, the more follows, the better it is. Or it helps people be able to see it, all that. And then you can stay off of Facebook and just set up your alerts, and boom, ding, it's there. And start a discussion, comment on stuff, tell me what you think. But have a good weekend, stay safe, have fun, be healthy, be nice to each other. Watch some old promos, watch some old anything wrestling. Wrestling is always good in there and entertaining. And until tomorrow, my friends, have a good night and peace.